It could always be worse. Once upon a time, in a small village, a poor, unfortunate man lived with his mother, his wife, and his 6 children in a little one-room hut. Because they were so crowded, the man and his wife often argued. The children were noisy and they fought, and in winter when the nights were long and the days were cold, life was especially hard. The hut was full of crying and quarreling. One day, when the poor, unfortunate man could stand it no more, he ran to the rabbi for advice. "Holy Rabbi," he cried, "things are in a bad way with me and getting worse. We are so poor that my mother, my wife, and my 6 children and I all live together in one small hut. We are too crowded and there's too much noise. Help me, Rabbi. I'll do whatever you say." The rabbi thought and pulled on his beard, and at last he said, "Tell me, my poor man, do you have any animals, perhaps a chicken or 2? "Yes," said the man, "I do have a few chickens and also a rooster and a goose." "Ah, fine," said the rabbi. "Now go home and take the chickens, the rooster, and the goose into your hut to live with you." "Yes, indeed, Rabbi," said the man, though he was a bit surprised. The poor, unfortunate man hurried home and took the chickens, the rooster, and the goose out of the shed and into his little hut. And when some days or a week had gone by, life in the hut was worse than before. Now with the quarreling and the crying, there was honking and crowing and clucking. There were feathers in the soup. The hut stayed just as small, and the children grew bigger. And when the poor, unfortunate man could stand it no longer, he ran to the rabbi for help. "Holy Rabbi," he cried, "see what a misfortune has befallen me. Now with the crying and the quarreling, with the honking and the clucking and the crowing, there are feathers in the soup. Rabbi, it couldn't be worse. Help me, please." The rabbi listened and thought, and at last he said, "Tell me, do you have a goat?" "Oh yes, I do have an old goat, but he's not worth much." "Excellent," said the rabbi. "Now go home and take the old goat into your hut to live with you." "Ah, no, do you really mean it, Rabbi?" cried the man. Come now, my good man, and do as I say at once," said the rabbi. The poor, unfortunate man tramped back to his home with his head hanging down low and took the old goat into his hut. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the little hut was much worse. Now with the crying and the quarreling, the clucking and the honking and the crowing, the goat went wild, pushing and butting everyone with his horns. The hut seemed smaller and the children grew bigger. And when the poor unfortunate man could stand it not another minute, he ran to the rabbi. "Holy Rabbi, help me," he screamed. "Now the goat is running wild. My life is a nightmare." The rabbi listened and thought, and at last he said, "Tell me, my poor man, is it possible that you have a cow? Young or old, it doesn't matter." "Yes, Rabbi, it's true, I have a cow," said the poor man fearfully. "Go home then," said the rabbi, "and take the cow into your hut." "Oh, no, surely not, Rabbi," cried the man. "Do it at once," said the rabbi. The poor, unfortunate man trudged home with a heavy heart and took the cow into his hut. "Is this rabbi crazy?" he thought. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the hut was very much worse than before. Everyone quarreled, even the chickens. The goat ran wild, the cow trampled everything. The poor man could hardly believe his misfortune. At last, when he could stand it no longer, he ran to the rabbi for help. "Holy Rabbi," he shrieked, "help me, save me, the end of the world has come. The cow is trampling everything. There's no room even to breathe. It's worse than a nightmare." The rabbi listened and thought, and at last he said, "Go home now, my poor unfortunate man, and let the animals out of your hut." I will, I'll do it right away," said the man. The poor unfortunate man hurried home and let the cow, the goat, the chickens, the goose, and the rooster out of his little hut. That night, the poor man and all of his family slept peacefully. There was no crowing, no clucking, no honking. There was plenty of room to breathe. The very next day, the poor man ran back to the rabbi. "Holy Rabbi," he cried, "you have made life sweet for me. With just my family in the hut, it is so quiet and roomy, so peaceful. What a pleasure."